Amateur college football is dead. What happens when college football becomes a billion-dollar bidding war? The NCAA just approved a $2.8 billion settlement that doesn't just pay for past mistakes, it wipes out the old model and opens the door for schools to pay players directly. This isn't just about fairness, it's the spark that ignites a new financial arms race. Some Power 5 programs that opt in can now budget up to $20.5 million per year for player compensation, creating a brutal divide between the rich and everyone else. Careers in college sports are changing fast. Roles like NIL compliance officer are now crucial, and understanding this system is your edge. So how did college football get here, and what exactly is in this deal that's being called the biggest overhaul in sports history? That $2.8 billion figure isn't just a payout, it's a bomb dropped on the old world of college sports. For decades, the NCAA clung to its amateurism model, where universities, networks, and coaches cashed in. But the athletes making it all happen couldn't earn a dime. The student-athlete label kept the money flowing everywhere, except to the players, protecting the NCAA's nonprofit status and shielding schools from treating athletes as employees. Everyone at the top got rich, while the athletes themselves were left out of the equation. But that model was always under fire. Former athletes challenged the system in court, arguing that the NCAA's restrictions on player compensation violated federal antitrust laws. Instead of a slow trickle of minor changes, the House V NCAA case became the decisive blow. The legal arguments were straightforward. By colluding to prevent athletes from being paid, the NCAA and its member schools were acting like an illegal cartel. After years of mounting pressure, the NCAA finally reached its breaking point. The settlement that followed is historic, and it's split into two parts. The first is the $2.8 billion in back pay. This isn't just a token gesture, it's a massive payout to thousands of former and current Division I athletes who competed since 2016 through the class period, making up for years when they couldn't profit from their own name, image, or likeness. The money acknowledges the real cost of keeping athletes unpaid while the business of college sports exploded. But which part threatens to upend recruiting forever? The second part of the settlement is the real game changer. For the first time, universities are allowed to pay their athletes directly. This isn't about boosters working in the shadows or NIL collectives finding loopholes. Now schools themselves can make official financial agreements with their players, paying them for their name, image, and likeness in promotions, advertisements, and appearances. It's a seismic shift in how college sports operate. So what does this mean for the business of building a team? The settlement introduces a new payroll cap for universities that opt in. For the 2025-26 academic year, the limit is set at $20.5 million per school. This isn't just a theoretical cap, it's the new baseline for competing at the highest level. Power 5 programs are expected to take full advantage, while others will have to decide if they can even afford to join the race. That $20.5 million cap reflects a significant slice of the average Power 5 school's revenue, and it's only expected to grow over the next decade. The NCAA agreed to these terms to avoid a catastrophic court judgment that could have bankrupted the entire organization. In exchange, they created a formal revenue sharing model and accepted that college athletes are now, in effect, paid professionals. With the rules rewritten overnight, the focus has shifted. It's no longer a question of whether players get paid, but how much and which programs can afford to keep up. This new landscape is about to change everything for coaches, players, and the very structure of college football. Coaches are now staring down a new kind of roster management nightmare, the roster chaos engine. With a $20.5 million payroll cap on the table, building a championship team has turned into a year-round scramble. The old playbook, find promising high schoolers, develop them for 4 years, and hope for loyalty, is almost useless. Now, every coach acts more like a general manager, operating in a chaotic, unregulated free agency market where every player is up for grabs every season. The full-ride scholarship that once sealed the deal, that's just the opening offer in a high-stakes auction. NIL deals funded by wealthy boosters were only the beginning. That was the warm-up. Today, powerhouse programs can legally put multi-million-dollar contracts on the table, backed by university resources and brand power. The divide between top-tier and smaller programs is growing fast. A school like Ohio State, for example, saw its boosters spend north of $20 million on player NIL deals in 2023. That's not just recruiting. That's building a roster with a kind of financial muscle most schools can't even dream of. Meanwhile, smaller Division I programs are left scrambling, unsure if they can even afford to join this new system. The gap between the haves and have-nots is turning permanent. Layer in the transfer portal, and the chaos only multiplies. The portal lets players transfer once without penalty, but combine that freedom with direct university payments, and you get a system where stars can shop their talents to the highest bidder. A breakout quarterback at a mid-tier school? He can test his value the moment the season ends, evaluating offers from richer programs eager to buy proven winners. Loyalty is fading fast. Players are moving for the best deal, not for tradition or team culture. This isn't just theory. Take the case of Matthew Sluka, the UNLV quarterback. He made headlines when he announced he'd sit out the rest of the season after promised NIL payments failed to materialize. His story highlights the risks of handshake deals and the chaos that erupts when there are no written contracts. One broken promise can sideline a player and disrupt an entire program's season. In this environment, both athletes and schools are learning that clarity and enforceability matter more than ever. Coaches admit that long-term player retention is nearly impossible. What does that mean for development? The classic approach, recruit a freshman, build him into a leader by senior year, is almost extinct. If a player shines early, he's likely to be poached by a wealthier school with a bigger offer. There's no way to stop it. The result? A win-now mentality. Coaches spend most of their time in the transfer portal, hunting for experienced players from rival teams instead of nurturing their own recruits. Development takes a backseat to acquisition. This is how powerhouse programs stack their rosters. They combine massive booster funds with the new ability to offer direct university payments, building super teams that smaller schools can't hope to match. The system encourages tampering, with rumors of schools and boosters contacting players before they even enter the portal. Every offseason, and sometimes even midseason, turns into a frantic bidding war. Experts warn that the top 20 or 30 programs will gather most of the elite talent, leaving everyone else to fight over what's left. All of this is sending shockwaves beyond the field. The scramble for talent is only half the story. The real upheaval is just beginning, and it's not just the coaches and players who are scrambling to keep up. In the boardrooms of college sports, the ground is shifting fast. For companies like Learfield, which built billion-dollar businesses on the old model, this isn't just a market correction, it's a total transformation. For decades, Learfield's strategy was straightforward. Control a university's intellectual property. They own the rights to everything from stadium naming to official broadcasts, selling brands exclusive access to the school itself. Corporate sponsors didn't just back a team, they attached themselves to the institution. Their logo stamped everywhere from the scoreboard to the souvenir cups. It was stable, reliable, and all about the power of the university brand. But now the game has changed. The most valuable asset in college sports marketing isn't the school's logo or mascot. It's the name, image, and likeness of individual athletes. The balance of power has shifted from athletic departments to the athletes themselves. Why would a major brand pay for a generic stadium sponsorship when they can sign the star quarterback as the face of their campaign? Learfield's old playbook isn't just outdated, it's at risk of becoming irrelevant. So they're pivoting hard, rebranding around what they call student-athlete influencer marketing. As Grant Jones of Learfield puts it, athletes are now at the center of storytelling. This shift is about more than just survival. It's about redefining the business. This new approach brings a wave of challenges. How do you sell a sponsorship deal for a player who could transfer to a rival school next season? How do you manage the workload of a student athlete who's juggling classes, practice, and now professional endorsement obligations? Learfield's answer is to become a full-service agency, no longer just a middleman for schools, but a connector of brands, schools, and athletes in a single network. They're building technology platforms to handle thousands of individual deals, track every dollar for compliance, and deliver real data to brands that want proof of their investment's impact. They now offer content support to inexperienced athletes, helping them create brand-aligned content while protecting school IP and staying compliant with NCAA rules. Picture this: a major energy drink company partners with a university, but instead of just putting their logo on the scoreboard, they run a campaign featuring the school's star running back on TikTok, Instagram, and local billboards. Learfield coordinates the deal, ensures compliance, and tracks engagement, all while managing the athlete's schedule and protecting the university's brand. With 12,000 brand partners and a growing roster of athletes, this is the new scale and complexity of college sports marketing. For students and young professionals eyeing a career in sports, the playbook has changed. Now, you'll need skills in influencer marketing, IP licensing, NIL compliance, and athlete brand management. The jobs are shifting from traditional ticket sales and event marketing to roles like NIL contract law, data analytics for player valuation, and digital content strategy. If you want to break into this industry, you have to understand how the lines between athlete, school, and sponsor are blurring. and how to operate in a world where the athlete's personal brand is the main event. The old value chain has been upended. The focus is no longer on tradition or amateur ideals. It's on who can create, manage, and monetize the most powerful stories and personalities. As the dust settles, the industry is left asking, what does it really mean when college sports become a business? And who will thrive now that the mask is off? The landscape has shifted. College football is now operating more like a pro league's business side than the old amateur model. The $2.8 billion settlement marks the start of a new era where direct pay-for-play and revenue sharing are rewriting every rule. This shakeup means the richest programs will set the pace, while everyone else scrambles to keep up. If you're thinking about a career in the sports industry, this is your chance to specialize. You could become a valuation analyst, setting NIL pay ranges, or join a collective as a compliance officer, navigating these new rules. If you want more deep dives into the business of sports, hit subscribe and let us know in the comments which part of this new era surprises you most. Remember, as the lines blur between schools and pro teams, understanding these financial rules will make or break your career in sports business.